know it's the long game, right? That's what you say.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
so
yeah.
like what's the minimum amount of slice size I can devote to it to nurture that long game, but also have plenty of time and energy to the other slices, which are yielding more immediate results.
Hey, my feel good friend, and welcome back to another episode of the Feel Good Social podcast, the official last full episode of 2021. It is insane. And I am so excited to share today's guest with you. Lindsay is just an amazing human. She's one of those people who, like, literally every time we communicate, whether it's in the DMs or on Voxer or chatting in person, she just makes me crack up. We have definitely the same sense of humor. I love her so much. And she also happens to be a mountain garden expert. She helps people create gardens in the mountains at high altitude with rocky soil and crazy climate conditions and all the things, because it's definitely more difficult to create home gardens up here. Believe me, I've heard all about it. I'm not a gardener myself. And also, Lindsay is not only did she used to be a one-on-one coaching client during her busy season, it was so wonderful to work with her this year in a one-on-one coaching capacity, but also she became a founding member of the Feel Good Social Club, and I love having her in there. We actually have a lot of awesome garden ladies in the club, and it's just such a wonderful community, and Lindsay just makes such a great part of it. So in today's episode, we are chatting not only a little bit about mountain gardening and those things. If you're interested in gardening, Lindsay has a few resources for you for sure. But also, we chat about her journey in business, her journey with marketing, and also how she creates systems for her workflows in her business that allow her to show up in a streamlined, effective, and efficient way, which is something that she actually helps other people do as well now. It's a really great conversation. I know you're going to love Lindsay, and I can't wait to share it with you for the final episode of 2021. So thank you so much for joining us, my friend. I am so happy to be in your earbuds right now. And I hope that as we are going into this final week of the year, that you are feeling reflective on how 2021 went, the good, the bad, and the ugly, accepting of how it went, and also looking forward to the future. Because I don't know about you, but this time of year, I always feel, I don't know, extra inspired, excited, all the things. And I hope that you can really embrace that too right now. All right, my friend, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Hey, friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Do you know what your brand vibe is on Instagram? I have a new fun quiz that's just for you, my friend. I, of all people, know how hard it is to figure out how the heck you're supposed to translate your brand to the gram. And with this quick 7-question quiz, we will help you hone in on your brand's personality, voice, and visuals so that you can show up consistently and create content that looks beautiful and feels on brand for you. This quiz is so awesome. It's been a long time coming, and I know that you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Plus, the results will help you show up in the best way for you. If you'd like to check out our new brand vibe quiz, just head to feelgoodsocial.com/quiz. Pretty easy. Head to feelgoodsocial.com/quiz to find out what your brand's vibe is on social media and start showing up there for your brand. Hi, Linz. Thanks so much for coming on the Feel Good Social podcast. I am so excited to have you on the show, lady.
Thanks, Kinsey. I'm really excited to be here too.
Yes. Okay. So I usually like to start these shows by asking, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, who you serve, all the things? Just give us the lowdown on Lindsay, the gardener / system specialist.
So I'm Lindsay, and I've been gardening in the mountains for 14 years and kind of realized it's very different to grow vegetables up here compared to other places. So I originally learned how to grow food on a farm in Oregon, which is a lot easier. So in my business, I guess 3 things I do. So my first people I serve are local people right here in Eagle County, and I build them gardens and then teach them how to grow in it, or even help them like come in their gardens regularly and maintain it for them. And then my second branch is more of like a wider audience, just people in general who grow vegetables in the mountains, and I serve them with online courses and membership. And my newest thing is helping other garden coaches set up their systems. And specifically, we've been working on systems to make their client experience really exceptional so that they can, in turn, help more people grow more gardens throughout the US and the world.
Yeah. Oh, and I have loved seeing like your business kind of evolve and streamline and grow through the past year and whatnot. And it's been so exciting. And I especially was so excited when you said, I'm going to start offering like systems help for other gardeners and coaches like that and stuff too, because it's just one of those places that you are just so good. Like seriously, us working together, like one-on-one coaching and all of those things. You're one of those people who just like gets stuff done and immediately takes something and rolls with it and like figures out the system for it in the best way. And you like, especially with even my system in Airtable, the social map, took it and you're like, okay, Kins, I improved this and this and this. And now we're doing it. And I'm like, gee, girl. Like, so I think it's one of your power areas. Have you always been that way, or has it like evolved over time?
Yes. So I was telling my friend about this new offering of like helping people with systems, and she had just, so I used to work with her, and she had just gone through my old science classroom and found my binder that I had entitled The Logisticator, which is what I called my position, which I had basically created for myself when I said I didn't want to teach science anymore. And then I realized I basically recreated a business that is logisticating other people's businesses. So yes, and I do think gardening is like a system. It's like all the moving parts of the plants and the pests and the creatures, and it's just an ecosystem. And that's what I studied. So yes.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to start freaking out. You know me because it makes sense. Firstly, word nerds that we are, love logisticator. Like what if like you ever do kind of, if your systems business becomes like a separate side hustle sort of thing that you need to name it, that might be a good name for it or something. But also, yeah, that totally makes sense. And I love when people's stories like just seem to click together. You know what I mean? Like when you end up doing something that just makes sense and like everything kind of flows together. Like you know, teaching science and moving into garden, and it's all a system and ecosystem and all that stuff. I just think it's cool. Okay, lady. Okay. So you started gardening in Oregon. Were you okay? I was just watching a movie the other day called Bottle Shock, and I thought it was really good. Have you seen it? It's like about the California wine industry back in the 70s and how this like dude from Paris decided to create like a blind tasting for Paris people with like California and French wines, and the Californian wines won. And you could imagine how French people took that. But so I've like have wine on the brain. So were you gardening in like a wine area of Oregon? Was that why it was easier? Or is it because it's like more wet, or why is it like easier to garden in Oregon than Colorado? Just curious.
Yeah, it has a more mild climate. So I was like 30 minutes up from California and 30 minutes in from the coast. So not the like rainforest part, but it was just less harsh. The winters weren't as cold. The winds weren't as dry. It sometimes rained. The soil is deeper.
Yeah, maybe less rocky too. Oh my gosh, when we went on our road trip to Idaho, we were like astounded by like how few rocks there were in the dirt roads and stuff like that. You know, I'm sure that rocks are something that you guys have to deal with like gardening all the freaking time out here, which is why I think it's so cool that you're like focused on mountain gardeners. It's something that we've chatted about before, how like you go on Pinterest and there's so many garden tips on Pinterest and they're all really great for people in the Midwest or in the South or whatever, but none of them are really focused on high altitude gardening, which is what you really specialize in. What like made you decide to like stop teaching and then move into really creating 4th Street Farm?
It was when I had my kids, I knew I didn't want to teach full time and give everything to those kids and then come home and have energy left for my kids. So that's when I kind of stopped teaching. And then I knew I wanted to. So 4th Street Farm, that name started a long time ago when I thought I was selling eggs. That's what I started doing. But I thought, oh, like we have enough room. I could grow flowers. I could grow vegetables or something like that. But then it takes a lot of water to do that. I don't have water rights, which is really important in the West. I guess maybe your listeners aren't from the arid desert that we live in. So I thought like just meshing the love of teaching and love of gardening and teaching adults about plants could be like super exciting. And then, so I didn't know about the online world of businesses and education and all those things, but I got an ad for a business course directed at people who wanted to start garden-based businesses. I was like, this is a thing. This is amazing. So I found a few other coaches doing it in Denver and then just started and hopped right in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I love that. It's hilarious. I had the exact same experience. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm fairly new to business too, ish. Like I really just started diving deep into this stuff like about 4 years ago now. And so I remember the first time I was like, wait, like this is a thing. Like there's so many different courses out here. What? And then all of a sudden you get immersed in the online like world and you're like, oh, like there's this whole new like community online that I had no idea existed until like 4 years ago.
No, it's like nice people that live on the internet instead of mean political trolls.
Oh my gosh. I had that exact, and that's kind of actually a cornerstone of like feel good social story, at least in my mind. And like what drives my motivation for it is like that shift between thinking of the internet and social media as kind of like an annoying place, an overwhelming place, an evil place to like, oh, we can actually make friends online and there's cool people out there. And like, this is an opportunity to connect with anyone in the world and all those things. Like, such a mindset shift. That's so helpful, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this so much. So you decided to start your gardening business and all these things. How has your business evolved over its journey?
It's a 1-year journey.
It's a 1-year journey.
Hopefully it's getting more focused instead of trying every single thing out there. Trying to focus down and have like a set number of things to try and then really like stick with the experiment and gather the data required to make like a real valid conclusion about if that method worked. I feel like earlier in the business, there's like, I'm going to do this and this and this. I don't know. I didn't record if this worked. I don't know. And that was a little, I mean, it was helpful. You have to do that stuff, I think, to practice different skills and even know what to do the real experiment on. But science teacher, I feel like everything is kind of like an experiment. It's time to set up one for the second year and try a few set things.
I love that so much. And thanks for sharing that. And firstly, yes, of course, like an experience. And I think that analogies are so helpful in like remembering things and explaining things. So that's perfect. But it's so true. Like I was actually just talking about this with someone this morning, Cassidy from the club, but it's like walking the fine line between splatting spaghetti on the wall, because I think you got to splat spaghetti on the wall, but also like being intentional with the spaghetti that you're splatting and also taking the time to like review and reflect on, okay, what's working, like, and being like, trying things out, putting yourself out there, but then also being like smart about it, thoughtful about it, reflective about it, and all that stuff. So I love hearing that. And also as someone who's worked with you one-on-one coaching, I'm very excited to hear this because this is definitely, I think that there's two sides of the coin of like our strengths and weakness. They can be our superpower and they can also be our kryptonite in a way where you are just such a great like go-getter, action taker, doer, and you can do things really quickly and really effectively. But it's like sometimes you end up with like so many different options and so many different things. And what you really need to do is like hone in on one thing. So I'm so excited to hear that. And I can't wait to see what 2022 brings for you. Okay, before I forget, let's go ahead and get this out there. When does garden season start for people looking to create a garden in 2022? Because this is probably going to come out. This is going to come out in like January, maybe like final week of December, depending on when I get my stuff together. So we're going into January. We're going into the new year. When should people start thinking about their garden?
Okay. Well, if you are me, you always think about your garden.
Yes.
You never stop. Some of my ideal clients prefer to start thinking about it in the summer, and I'm trying to prod them into thinking about it in the winter. But for many mountain gardeners, especially like intermediate or somewhat serious ones, you actually do start thinking about it now. For the past couple of years, there's been a lot of seed shortages. So getting those things ordered now, like I've already ordered seeds and potatoes and trees and all of the stuff I'm going to plant. So January is a really good time to plant your garden and get your seeds, even if we can't plant for another 4 months.
Yes. Okay. And I do love this because we've laughed about this before, how I probably have one of the browner thumbs out
and
there.
And I try to tell you there's no thumb shaming.
Okay. I'll let go of it. It's goal for 2022. Oh, and also we should talk at some point. I think Brett and I are going to be more vanning in 2022. So we should talk about maybe but also I think Brett needs to be involved in the conversation because let's be honest, he is the plant person of our relationship. But anyway, okay, love it. Start thinking about gardens now. And go ahead and drop your website now, just in case people want to check out like all the freebies that you have going on.
It is 4thstreetfarm.com spelled out. I think it's /freebies.
Okay, cool. Yes. Cause I know that we're going to start moving into a few marketing and business things. And I just want to make sure for our garden listeners out there that they can connect with you right now before we get distracted.
The free garden planning challenge will start on early January. So
perfect. Okay. Lindsay has a free garden challenge, guys. Maybe I'll go. Maybe this will be a good time for me to start thinking about gardening. 3
simple steps, Kinsey. You can handle it.
You're right. Okay. You're right. Okay. I have 2 weeks to prepare myself. Okay. So perfect. We will all check that out. And I will definitely, I'll definitely sign up, I'll definitely try to make gardening a thing, especially because so many awesome club members are so into gardening. I love how many people we have in there. Yeah. Okay. So I would love to talk a little bit as well about your journey in marketing, because I think it's been really, really cool. I think that often people have trouble understanding the concept of storytelling and content marketing and how you can create content that doesn't all have to be, these are your tips and buy me this garden from me and stuff. And I think that you're one of those people who understood that concept really quickly in a way and stuff. So can you tell us a little bit just about your journey in marketing and how that's evolved, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. So it's mostly been guided by you, which has been super exciting. So I started and I think a lot of my posts were, I was like, oh, you must post this many times or whatever. And I had this schedule and it was tips and this and this. And it was very automatic. It was fairly easy to make because it was just blah, blah, blah. And then I started listening to your podcast when I was building gardens, since I'm sitting there shoveling gravel for hours on end. I just really loved the idea of bringing some personality and storytelling into it and making it more human and real and fun. It was more fun to create. And so then I think I went a little too far and I was taking up so much time writing stories and making it so fun and creative and things like that. And now I'm kind of going a little back to the middle of okay, where social media is a part of my marketing. It's not all the part. Here it is, it's a little slice, and here are all the other slices. And I know it's the long game, right? That's what you say. But oh yeah, what's the minimum amount of slice size I can devote to it to nurture that long game, but also have plenty of time and energy to the other slices, which are yielding more immediate results. That's why working with you was super nice, because you didn't only teach me about social media. You taught me about reaching out to local property managers, which have kind of evolved into like personal chefs and wellness retreats and like different offline marketing things as well. And definitely my favorite part of what I've learned is like the repurposing of it and being able to look at the whole campaign strategy, like your podcast episode on the launch period. I think I just listen to that all the time. It's like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is my business goal. And then here's how like the different things I do to market are all like related to each other, supporting each other, and can be repurposed against each other. Or from each other.
Oh, so many good things. I'm going to start freaking out because we're talking about marketing also. Okay. I love that so much. Firstly, thank you so much for sharing like your story and how you evolved from like just sharing kind of like the easy to create content, because it was kind of robotic and just like not really adding your personality into it, into almost going overboard in storytelling a little bit. And it was like taking up too much time, maybe causing you like a little stress from pressure and stuff like that, to now understanding like the balance. And I think that this is something that I hear all the time from people, because I'm this way too. A lot of times we like to think in like concrete ways where it's like all of this, like go all in on this, go all in on that. And sometimes we have trouble figuring out like the balance and like balancing what's worth it for us, and all that stuff. And that's what I just heard from you in a way, is like, I do truly think that like your content strategy, it shouldn't just all be storytelling. It shouldn't just all be facts and figures and tips. It shouldn't just all be selling. We need to find like a nice balance of like all that different content, and all comes together to create the big picture. And then also, I love that you just shared that like social media is just a slicing of pizza, right? It's just a slicing of marketing pizza. And it's so true. When we first started working together, it's exactly that. And I've had this with other clients too. It's like, okay, tell me all the social media tips. And I'm like, okay, we're going to chat social media, but also like, I think that what's worth more of your investment of your time right now, and what's going to get you the boosted sales right now, is like this or that, or like all those different things. That's something I run into a lot. And it's so true. I'll be the first to admit that like social media is important and it's the long game, like you said, but it's balancing that with these other pieces of your marketing and seeing how it all fits together. So I thought that was great, lady. Thanks for sharing all that. Okay. I'm going to make you say the tomato hole story, right?
The tomato hole. Okay.
So Lindsay and I, friends, just a little backstory. I always bring it back to this tomato hole story because I just think it's hilarious. We have very similar senses of humor, I think. But Lindsay and I have been, in working together, we were chatting a lot about like different ways you can tell stories and how you can use storytelling to really like prove a point or spread the message you want to spread, or just like spread some of your personality around and all that stuff. So can you just tell us the tomato hole story? Because I just want people to hear what this tomato hole thing is about.
Yes. Okay. So this all goes back to what you said at the beginning, how Pinterest tips are not necessarily geared towards our specific mountain climate. And so I've tried my fair share of Pinterest tips. One of them was, it's just a whole genre, I think, of Pinterest tips of what to put in the tomato hole to help it grow better. I think maybe because like tomatoes are kind of divas and they're like hard to get, and they're just like the crown jewel in every gardener's garden or whatever. So there's this thing. Anyway, you can put like a fish. You could put a egg, I guess. This is the one I tried. I put the egg in.
And to like get it to grow better or something.
Yeah, right. The shell provides calcium and the like goop provides nitrogen or whatever. So
and this was like a Pinterest pin blog article or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So it's clickbait. She planted an egg. You'll never guess what happened next or whatever. They're all over there. They're so weird. Anyway, so planted the hole or put the egg in the hole, put the tomato in there, and it grew. It's going to grow because our soils have plenty of calcium, but I didn't know that yet. So anyway, it's growing and it's great. So then I go to like pick tomatoes or whatever. I didn't tell you this, but other ones had been dug up because like skunks and stuff want to eat those eggs. So that was like not good. And then it was time to clean up the garden and there was this tomato left with no skunk hole damage. So I like reached in there to like dig up the plant root or whatever. And I like pierced my finger in and it's like, ew, it's wet. Like, this is weird. Why is there a pocket of water in the soil? Like, that's super weird. And then I like bring it out, and then it's like this stench. Fully entrenched
like
in the
rotten egg
it will never leave me. It's always there for me. So it was just like a really good example of a time when the Pinterest hack doesn't work. It's too dry here. Things don't rot here. It is hard to compost. Like, nothing really breaks down. That's why it's like a hyperbaric chamber, and we all stay young. And stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I love that story so much because I can just like, there's so much visual, like, there's just so much description. Yeah. Like the stinking, piercing your finger into the egg and pulling out like egg goo that's like stinky. And like, firstly, just love the descriptiveness of that story.
Because it didn't happen to you.
Yeah, true. Very true. Because I can like laugh about it, but like if that would have happened,
it is funny.
Oh my gosh, I would have like freaked out and like whipped the egg and like started running
your finger off. I'm done with this.
Oh my gosh, but what I love about the story, like the example, is basically we were chatting about like different types of stories that you might be able to share. And like, it's just such a perfect story. It's memorable and it helps you prove the point and speak directly to your ideal people who might be having that problem, right? Like your ideal client is mountain gardeners. And one of the problems they have, probably because you've experienced it yourself, is that they go to Pinterest, they see these awesome garden tips and they just don't work up here. We're like high altitude, crazier climate. And so it's just not only a great story that's memorable and kind of shows your personality, you're able to be descriptive, but it also helps you prove that point and speak directly to your people. And so that's what I just love about all the stories that you share and how great you are just at writing and whatnot. Like I remember like most of your stories that you've shared with me. And like we've already established, I am not a gardener, my friends. So that's saying something, you know?
Real quick, have I invited you to join the Feel Good Social Club yet? Oh man, my friend, I would love for you to check out our new monthly membership for down-to-earth entrepreneurs who are ready to create content with ease, actually show up and strategically market your business online every month, and also make friends with rad down-to-earth entrepreneurs who are just like you, who get it, who are in the posting trenches with you, and who are ever ready to give you a friendly air high five or kick in the accountability booty whenever you need it. The Feel Good Social Club is where it is at. Check it out, feelgoodsocial.com/club. In the club, we have a content library full of Canva templates and tutorials and resources to help you make content creation as easy as possible. We also have monthly content planning workshops where we all come together and talk about the upcoming month's strategy for our content. And we also have community forums where you can get together, ask questions of other club members, brainstorm ideas, ask for feedback. So definitely check it out, feelgoodsocial.com/club. Our Feel Good members are seriously some of the most amazing people that I have ever met. And I would love for you to join us, feelgoodsocial.com/club. Check it out. Join today. We would love to see you in there, my friend. All right, let's dive back into today's episode.
Okay, ladies. So love all the marketing things you've shared, but let's go ahead and start talking about systems because you're so great at systems and managing, not only for like content, taking my Airtable social map system and like putting it on Lindsay steroids or whatever, but also like helping
egg fertilizer.
I love it. But also you like help plan systems in so many different ways. Tell us about some of your system planning and all of these.
All right. Well, I took notes. So I kind of just wanted to share, we know systems make our business more efficient, but I think one other thing that they are really helpful for me, at least, is they are like a nice, support or a crutch while I'm working through a mindset thing that's not allowing me to do a thing I need to do in my business. And then this has happened to some of my clients too. It's we're wanting to follow up with our people and make sure they're are moving down the pipeline or whatever. They've said they want a garden, but they haven't put the deposit down. So now I need to keep reminding them or something. That feels like an icky email to send. But if that's set up in a system and all I have to do is it pops up in my workflow and I look at it and oh, okay, it's mostly written. All I need to do is put in a personal detail and hit send. That is easier than staring at a blank screen or even not even getting to the email screen to send that like follow-up reminder for whatever like thing that is super important. And it could be anything, a client thing. For me, it's reaching out to like set up partnerships with other businesses. I don't like doing that. If I don't hear from someone, I'm like, they hate me. But no, they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for popping back into my inbox. I really do want to do this thing, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's usually nice, but in my head, I'm like, no, they don't want to. And so I think like systems, when they're built to, and especially when we put them around the things we don't want to do, but we know are important, they can like help us do those things until we like fix our brain or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just love sending reach outs all the time.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Let's pause there real quick. Cause I love the focus on systems helping you with your humanity, right? Because like, it's so true. Like a lot of people will talk about systems and they're like, it helps to streamline your processes and your workflow and it makes your business easier and all these things. And it's so true. But I've never really heard about someone talk about systems when it comes to like those things that are hard for us to do in your business. It's so true. Those awkward emails that you have to send, like it's so much easier to have like your system set up and be able to send them. And also thank you for sharing about like, you know, freaking out sometimes sending those and the reframes that you do, because I think we've chatted about that before. And I'm the exact same way. It's hilarious, like how much we get into our head about something that ends up not being a big deal at all. And actually sometimes helpful to the client instead of like weird or awkward or like, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what do your systems like help you do for the most part?
So I like for me, the ones I'm building out now for my business are ones around project management. So working on like the content machine or whatever, like writing the blog post that makes Pinterest pins go to it and the freebie matches and the post matches and the emails match, like all that is a huge monstrous thing. And if I have like 10 campaigns I'm doing in 2022, like, I have to be working on February's right now. Like that's crazy. So project management on content stuff, but also my actual business is building gardens. So I have to like order soil and shovel gravel and all of those things. Mm-hmm. So that one is one. And then for my clients, they are mostly wanting help with making a stellar client experience. So moving people from an inquiry stage through buying an on-site consult. So it's common for us to do like a small project with them where we do the design. It's like a paid design. And then we have to sell them on like the full installation. So, you know, a big giant investment into their landscape. And then we want to walk them through that process of letting them know when we're going to be there. Who are they going to see in their yard? What are they going to see in their yard? When will we leave? What kind of mess are we going to leave? Just like preemptively nipping anything in the bud that's been a problem in the past, and then just like really wanting to serve them after the garden. So what do you need to know a week after you get a garden? You need to know how to water. What do you need to know 3 weeks? You need to know how to harvest salad. Okay, 5 weeks, you need to know how to fertilize. And then that also just becomes a way to like to nurture your clients, and they're ready to go if you have another offer like, oh, I really want to help you get your fall garden ready. It's not just out of the blue. You've been serving them that whole time in like a consistent way. So those are the systems I'm helping my business clients put in place for theirs, which is
the logisticator.
I need to put those in place for mine.
Oh,
because I use mine as a template for my clients.
Yeah.
So it's just helping everyone.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I do the same thing. I'm like, okay, I need to do this for my social mappers, or I need to do this for my clubbers, or I need to do this for just like my clients. And like, this is going to be helpful for me too. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that, I think actually probably just to backtrack just a little bit, when we're talking about systems, I think really what we're talking about is like, anytime you have like a process in your business, like a repeatable process or a repeatable workflow, kind of mapping out your workflow for that process so that you can more easily repeat it again next time. Is that how you would probably define a system?
Yeah, I kind of think of it as like the thing, like the content or the tasks or whatever, like the email copy or the places you order gravel from or whatever, like those things, plus like an organizer, like some kind of scaffold where it all lives in an organized way. That's what I use Airtable for. That used to be the social map, and now is just an Airtable.
Crazy.
And then like the tool that you use. So if it's client relations, A lot of my folks use HoneyBook. If it's like I use Zoho for some of my project management stuff, or like the tool, the software that you keep your workflow in, or maybe it's not. Some of my workflows are just an Airtable because they're simple enough. That's all they need. They don't need like a fancier tool, but it's like the stuff, the organization of it, and then the tool you're using.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And it really is like an ecosystem, right? It's like all of those things working together to then create the process and stuff. And I love that so much. And so that's what we're talking about, guys. And systems can be used for content creation and content workflow, which is how the social map was introduced to you. And also, like you said, project management, right? Project management is different than marketing and content management. And then customer experience management, I guess, or whatever. I love that you're creating that because it makes sense too. I would love to encourage the listeners to just think about like their customer experience and like what in your business are you repeating for every customer? And if you just create even like a system, like a to-do list on steroids or like a workflow and outline your workflow, it just makes your life so much easier because then you don't have to be keeping track of all of this stuff in your mind. It's when you get a new client, okay, week 1, onboarding email. Week 2, this email. 3, 4, 5. If you're Lindsay and her clients, it's fertilizing and planting and stuff like that. But like, what is that for your business, right? We can all create systems in our business. And that's why we geek out about this. And it's so exciting. And I think you can tell Lindsay's brain is very, how would you describe it? Logistical? Is that what you would call it? Like it's very, I feel like you're so good at seeing that and like mapping things out and outlining things and stuff.
And then doing them is not my favorite thing.
Oh,
like
but girl, I'm not going to let you say that you're not good at doing because you're just.
I just don't like it.
Okay, sure. Yes. Okay. I get it. Wait, I feel like we've talked about the Enneagram before. You don't like the Enneagram very much, do you?
I was like pretty anti-personality test in general, but I did take it after multiple times of hearing it on your podcast. I'm like, fine, if Kinsey says it, I'm gonna at least give it a shot.
Yeah. Wait, a 4? Yes, lady. Okay, interesting. Okay, love it. Love it. Taking that in. It means that you're like a deep thinker, I think. It's probably how I would describe it before, which makes sense for me. But okay, lady. Thank you so much for sharing about your systems. Let's talk about content marketing a little bit and how it's evolved on social media, because I know you've had a journey and all of those things. And I would love also if you would share a little bit about your experience in the Feel Good Social Club, because I've seen you in there using some of those templates. And I was very excited when you used the template from this month that I was like, kind of inspired, like keeping you in mind as I created it and stuff. So tell us about your, tell us about your content creation journey.
Okay. So I guess it's pretty much everything you say to do, but it's just taken a long time for it to seep in. So it's like, oh, that's what she means. Oh, that's what she means. Like the more I practice it, the faster I get at it. So doing your planning process for the month, like it is truly only taking a few hours. And then if I want to like sit there and bust out a bunch of graphics and captions, it really only takes like 8 hours in a month, which is pretty good. So then I also just keep like picking up new elements of how to make it mesh and how to make it more streamlined and like how the parts support each other more. So in the club, it's like super, super helpful to have all those templates because they're like so much more awesome than the regular templates you can find in Canva. They're like expanded. They like have more of a purpose. They have more fun fonts. They just like look better. So it's so much easier to grab a template and get inspired to write a post from that, or have an idea for a post and go look for the template that works. And it's like so customizable. So that one that you already saw, that's just like one of 3, and they're not all how to work with me in the same month. The next one's like, what can you get in a month? But it's the same template, or every month of the year, and then what are the gifts from the garden? So it goes to like my brand values and how they're gifts from the garden. So it's like, they're so easy to use and customize, and they like inspire. And then it's just like so fun to be in that group of people where we're all kind of like thinking the same kinds of ways about marketing and business. I already like shot you a DM. It's like, oh, I have the same accountant too. Like, it's just so nice to meet other kinds of people and you're like, oh, what do I need in my business? Let me just go look and see what everyone offers.
Yeah. Lady, I'm just celebrating over here. You can see me kind of like squirming and dancing, but just had to tell the listeners, that that's what's happening because it just makes me so happy. That's exactly what I was going for. And I love too that you said that thing about, I think it's getting easier and easier to create content now. Like it does take a while for like a lot of these things that you hear everyone shouting about online to like sink in. I think no matter what it is, but especially like social media, you go on to Instagram and if you follow any social media managers, they're like, do this. And you're like, okay, but it feels hard. Right. And so I think it like takes some time and practice and really figuring out how it works for you and how you can use all those things. But I love the fact that you said that you used one of the club templates, not only in the way I set it up as like a work with me template, but also you reuse the same template as like these different types of carousels with different topics, but it's the same template. And that's exactly what I'm going for. And that's exactly what like, I think is just one of the best ways to not only repurpose content and make your content creation easier, but also like help to boost like your brand, like recognizability, if that's a word, online and stuff like that. And so I think that's so great. And thank you for sharing that. And also I'm so glad that you are enjoying the community because that's exactly, I just knew being like, behind Feel Good Social, I'm like, I love Lindsay. I love Sam. I love Cassidy. I love Alicia and who you've now hired, and me too. And you guys are all so awesome. And so it's so wonderful to have a place we can all like come together and we can support each other like this, Thank you so much, lady.
Yes. Thank you for making the club, teaching us all the things.
Oh, yes. And I can't wait to see where the club goes in 2022. Okay. So I would love for you to go ahead and tell us about all of your things. Tell us about your garden challenge first, just in case anyone wants to join. Okay. So I think the episode is going to come out on actually the 28th of December. So we should still have time to sign up if we have any gardeners in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So free garden planning challenge. It was my most loved freebie of last year. So it got revamped and streamlined and even better for this year. And then I've also got a membership and it's like a module of lessons that pops in every month. And then we have like live meetings so people can ask questions about what's going on in their gardens. So that'll be starting up in January as well. And then, local to Eagle County, you can get a garden made in your yard.
Yeah. Or you can fly Lindsay out and have her create a garden wherever you are.
Yes. Totally.
Okay. So wonderful. And I know that everyone, and then the systems, like what should people do if they're interested in getting your help with systems?
I would say shoot me a DM on @4sweetfarms spelled out, just because it's not like an official thing. There's no website for it.
We're still working on that. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Yay. Okay. And I will link everything in the show notes. So 4th Street Farm spelled out, and it's either at Instagram or .com for the website. Pretty easy. Oh my gosh, Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on the show, lady. And thanks for doing the double interview. I know. We attempted to do this interview one time, like a few months ago, and then my crazy brain lost our recording somewhere in my computer files. And so we're doing it again.
But second time is better. That was a practice round. That was the spaghetti version. This is the second year version.
Yeah.
It's better.
2.0. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on, Lindsay. I so appreciate you.
Yay. Bye.
How great was Lindsay? You guys, I love that woman so much. We always have a laugh, if you couldn't tell. And if you did enjoy this episode, make sure that you connect with Lindsay on Instagram. She's super cool. I know she'd love to connect. And also connect with me. I'm at Feel Good Social. And if you feel up to it,
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you do share it with someone else who could also use to hear the Feel Good Social podcast. Share it to your Instagram stories if you're feeling up to it. Make sure you tag both me and Lindsay at Feel Good Social and at 4th Street Farm. We would love to connect with you on there. We would love to hear from you and reshare and spread some love and joy right back to you. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your year. There's only a few times a year I can say that, and it just cracks me up every time. And I will catch you next year, 2022. We have got this, friends. I know it's going to be an awesome year for you. I know it's going to be an awesome year for me, and I cannot wait to see what it brings us. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.